Hello. Josh here with a very special announcement before we get into the episode. We have a brand new BLS beanie. It is warm, it is soft, it is so comfortable. I know because I'm wearing it right now. It feels like a nice little hug on the top of my head. It's dusty blue with a little stag head from our logo embroidered on the front. It looks really nice, and it's available for a very limited time only. You can get your own beanie if you make a donation of $60 or become a $5 a month sustaining member to support the show. Help keep this show thriving. Click the link in the episode description or head to bravelittlestate.org/donate to check out the beanie and make your donation today. Thanks so much.
Okay, ready? From Vermont Public and the NPR Network, this is Brave Little State. I'm Sabine Pooks.
I'm Frances Mize. From the NPR Network, I'm Frances Mize.
Yeah, straight from it.
All right.
So, Frances, when you and I were...
This is my roommate and dear friend, Frances. A few weeks ago, I asked her if she'd let me roll tape while we were chatting. She kindly obliged.
We're sitting outside of Arby's Delicatessen on the South Royalton Green, and we live about 12 minutes from here.
I don't know if that's going to make it in, because that's kind of personal.
Frances has lived near South Royalton for years. I'm a newcomer. So when I decided to move to this area, she suggested I drive around and get a feel for it, best I could.
The first time I ever visited this here town, South Royalton, I texted you my observations. Can you read them? Can we find them in your phone?
Sabine said, "Why were there multiple young, hot people walking around South Royalton?" I responded, "I know. It's hot there. Vermont Law School is the reason why."
Look, I have no shortage of small-town love in my heart. Still, I think it's fair to say that if you're hoping to spot young, hot people ambling around in big numbers, you're better off setting your sights on the big city. But, like Frances said, this small town has something that others don't. Vermont Law Graduate School, the state's only law school.
Do you see a lot of people from the law school on dating apps?
Yeah. These people are all over Hinge.
Can you tell on Hinge when someone's here from the law school?
That's a good question. Yes, there's a certain look sometimes to a Vermont law school student.
Can you describe the look?
Just a certain glimmer in their eye.
The glimmer of justice.
The glimmer of justice, right.
The law school's footprint in this part of the state is no joke. About 400 of its students live here in tiny South Royalton and the surrounding communities. They make up something like half of South Royalton's population. The law school's been around since the early 1970s, when it was founded by Anthony Doria, a local landowner and serial entrepreneur who left a lot of unpaid bills and, ironically, more than one lawsuit in his wake. Anthony first started another school, Royalton College. The law school was sort of tacked on. And while the original institution went out of business, the law school persisted. And it quickly carved out a niche befitting its bucolic setting. Over time, this scrappy institution came to boast one of the best environmental law programs in the country. Make no mistake, the school didn't trade scrappiness for snobbery. It doesn't really attract typical buttoned-up corporate lawyer types. I mean, there are compost toilets in the main academic building. The slogan on the school's website is Idealists, Realists, Catalysts for Change. Some alumni stay in Vermont to practice law. 3 of the 5 Vermont Supreme Court justices right now are graduates of the law school.
The conversation about where the law school fits into all of our lives has been like omnipresent my whole life.
This is Tess Mix. She spent her childhood just up Route 110 from South Royalton in neighboring Tunbridge, and she recently moved back home. The law school is basically her neighbor.
Yeah, I mean, I go to their gym. I donated blood today at the law school.
But for as long as she can remember, there's been this sort of black cloud hanging overhead. She says the law school's presence in town has felt tenuous.
Everybody's scared, I think, of maybe finding out that maybe the law school is actually truly going to actually move up to Burlington, even though they've been saying this since I was a kid. Like this conversation that happens every few years has been happening as long as I can remember.
Moving the law school to Burlington. It's an idea that was floated a few years ago when the school was looking for ways to fix its financial problems. And it seemed plausible. They already have a satellite office there, and it's easier to get to Burlington from other places than it is South Royalton. It wasn't the first time upping sticks for the big city came up, and it probably won't be the last either.
That's the thing. It's like constantly like, it's cyclical. Like every few years, someone's like,
Tess says her mom, who's been in the area since the law school started, she's been hearing these rumors for more than 50 years. And even though the school's still around, so are the rumors. That makes Tess nervous. She wants to open a restaurant right on the town green.
I have a dream of reopening the pub that I went to as a kid. But yeah, I think that honestly, again, like the fear goes to if the law school wasn't here, would it be financially viable?
So she wants to know.
My question is, does South Royalton and the surrounding towns actually have to worry about the Vermont Law School leaving, or is it just a recurring rumor?
We'll be right back.
Support for Brave Little State comes from Union Bank of Vermont and New Hampshire, helping Vermonters buy homes and local businesses create jobs since 1891, offering residential, municipal, and commercial loans. ublocal.com. And Horsford Nursery Charlotte, partnering with Vermont schools to plant Arbor Day trees for 30 years. Native trees for your spring plantings are available at the nursery and online. Opening day is April 15th. Complete plant catalog and pricing at horsfordnursery.com.
South Royalton is the platonic ideal of a New England town. Look no further than the opening credits of the TV show Gilmore Girls, where shots of South Royalton stand in as Stars Hollow. The town is sandwiched between I-89 and the White River, and the law school campus is pretty much the first thing you see when you cross the bridge into town. Drive a little further and you'll get to the geographic heart of the community, a gazebo-dotted town green bordered by a church, train tracks, and a strip of locally owned businesses, including not one, but 2 bustling coffee shops. It's here where the energy of the law school is undeniable. On weekday mornings, groups of students huddle over their laptops at First Branch Coffee, which acts as a de facto student library.
I do have a good, solid community of local folks and my regular people, but I feel like they're a decent percentage of our day-to-day sales. So are the professors.
Owner Lauren Adamoli says she hires law students to work the front.
So it's just such a hub. There's people that live upstairs that are law school students. So I don't know. I feel like just being right in the center.
A few doors down is the South Royalton Legal Clinic, the law school's version of a teaching hospital. Clients come from all over Vermont to get pro bono legal help from students and their supervising attorneys on family law cases and on appeals to the Department of Veterans Affairs.
Trying to navigate the legal system on the VA end is nearly impossible.
Lawrence Creech is an Army vet who lives in Rochester. He says the VA messed up an operation he had back in 2019. With the clinic's help, he's been fighting to be compensated since.
You know, it's been saving my mental part of my being by able to talk to somebody and saying, it's okay, it's going to be all right, things are going to get better, we're going to try to help you. It gives you encouragement.
After school, law school students get drinks at Crossroads. Professors take meetings at Worthy Burger. And on a handful of winter nights, you'll find a considerable law school contingent in nearby Woodstock at the Union Arena. That's because Vermont Law and Graduate School has a hockey team. They attract a sizable, very rowdy crowd. One first-year law student is dressed as the team's mascot, the Fighting Swan. It's a riff on the swan included in the school's official academic seal, an emblem that stands for dignity, strength, and Grace. From the coffee shop to the legal clinic to the ice, law students are everywhere, even on the local airwaves.
We're going to keep going with our 90s theme here on the One Woman Show, where we listen to women in country, folk, and bluegrass music.
Julia Wickham is a second-year law school student studying agricultural law. On this Tuesday night, she's in the DJ chair at Royalton Community Radio, the local volunteer-led radio station housed above an old garage on the law school's campus. 4 of her law school friends eat pizza and pore over a course catalog in the room next door.
It was free pizza on campus.
They ran over there to go get it.
Julia's from a small town in Iowa. She loves that South Royalton is small, too.
Growing up in a small town and then being, living in one, I knew that it was really important to me to kind of jump in and meet folks. So I feel like this year's been really busy, but I feel like I've made a good little path through the town. Yeah.
It's great to have these kids around.
Question asker Tess again.
And I can't believe I'm saying kids. I used to think they looked so much older than me, but they're not anymore. It's just great. It's a great thing to have the school here. It adds a lot of just energy to the community.
Energy and also money. Law students rent a lot of the homes in town. The school pays taxes to Royalton and has scholarships for local kids.
There's an economy here based on the law school, and I totally understand that. I'm wondering if we're as reliant on it as we think. But also, I don't want the law school to go anywhere.
Well, Tess, we have good news for you after the break.
And SRH Law, a law firm with a mission dedicated to helping clients create a positive, lasting impact by working to secure our energy future, build more inclusive communities, and advance a values-led economy. Making a difference is their practice. srhlaw.com.
About a month into the law school's spring semester, I visited campus to put Tess's question directly to the source, Rod Smola, president of the law school.
I want to ask the question that this question asker had about whether the law school would ever move to a place like Burlington, would ever sort of join up with UVM, for example. Right. What do you say to that?
The easy answer is no. No. People thought about it 5 or 6 years ago. It didn't look feasible, and now it's completely off the table. We're not moving to Burlington.
5 or 6 years ago, the law school was dealing with some big budget issues. Like other law schools around the country, Vermont Law had problems with low enrollment, which led to a lot of financial stress. A few years before Rod became president, the school took tenure away from most of its faculty in an attempt to cut costs. And the school's board of trustees said it was considering a bunch of possibilities to right the ship, including moving the campus to Burlington to be closer to hotels and the airport. Rod says they looked into it and decided it just didn't make sense. They already had the property in South Royalton and had invested a lot into it. And Rod says the rural location is actually a draw for a lot of people.
There's simply no good reason to move, and it would be an enormous headache, very difficult.
Instead of moving, the school did a big rebrand. In 2022, the same year Rod became president, it changed its name from Vermont Law School to Vermont Law and Graduate School. With help from an anonymous $8 million donation, it opened up other graduate programs so students could get master's degrees in things like public policy and restorative justice, not just JDs.
And that's giving us a new stream of enrollment.
And the school amped up its online offerings so students can get law and master's degrees remotely.
And that has proven to be enormously popular. And so it's the blend of the opening of the graduate school and the very robust online law school program that we have that has turned the trick.
Also, the school launched a big fundraising campaign. It's also been working on getting its bar exam passage rates up, an important measure of a law school's success. In other words,
we're here to stay, we're stable, we're not moving. If you're interested in opening a restaurant or a hotel or an apartment complex, come to South Royalton. There's plenty of students that'll buy your services and your stuff.
It sounds like this is sort of a rumor that comes up every couple of years. How can you kind of quantify?
I don't know. I'm hoping this interview does the trick. We made the decision when first day I came. I said we're not moving. The board has said we're not moving, and I still get the questions. Somebody comes up to me, in a wine bar and says, "When are you moving to Burlington?" So you all send the word out. We're not moving. We're here. We love it here.
South Royalton has this really unique young energy. My roommate Frances and I feel it. Question asker Tess feels it.
Things are really happening here. People are doing really cool things.
And those cool things are coming from all sorts of places, not just the law school. At least according to Susan Dollenmeyer.
How about this? I'll only speak from my age group. They don't know anything about the law school, and they don't really care. I'm telling the truth.
I know, but do you think that
Susan is Tess's mom. I met up with the two of them at First Branch, that coffee shop on the main street. Susan's brother-in-law was part of the law school's first ever graduating class in the mid-1970s, and she's been in the area almost as long.
I didn't realize it at the time, because I was part of it, but there was a major influx of what I would call countercultural types. I definitely was one of those people.
She's seen almost 50 years of law school classes come and go.
And the older I got, your dad and I would say, here come the baby law students, because the older you get, the younger they look.
I said the exact same thing when we were talking the other day.
Right.
The thing is, Susan says, most of those baby law students are around for 3 years at a time. The energy that sustains this place long term, it's coming from people who are putting down roots here, starting businesses here.
The co-op next door, in my opinion, has absolutely cemented this community in a way that is mind-blowing. And
people who are running for local office and raising families and moving back home. People like Tess.
Okay, this is another thing. More people Tess's age are coming back here or moving here. Okay?
I would say it's very, especially accelerated from the COVID pandemic. It's very, you could definitely see this second return, which is I think very, very similar to what happened in the 1970s.
Yeah, I think it could be.
Thanks for listening, and thanks to Tess Mix for the great question. If you want to see photos from our reporting, head to bravelittlestate.org. And if you're listening to us on your favorite podcast app, make sure you click that follow or subscribe button. Then you'll get a little notification when new episodes are available. It helps us out too. This episode was reported by me, Sabine Pooks, and produced by Josh Crane and Burgess Brown. Our intern is Catherine Morrissey. Angela Evansy is our executive producer. Digital support from Sophie Stevens. The music by Ty Gibbons. Other music is by Blue Dot Sessions. Special thanks to Stephanie Clark, Don Hayes, Lisa Lance, Todd Tyson, Katie Merrill, Victoria Paquin, Andrew Hockenberry, Matthew McGovern, Drew Collins, and Kelli Cigelnik. Brave Little State is a production of Vermont Public and a proud member of the NPR Network.
This is Tanya Mosley, co-host of Fresh Air. You'll see your favorite actors, directors, and comedians on late-night TV shows or YouTube. But what you get with Fresh Air is a deep dive. Spend some quality time with people like Billie Eilish, Questlove, Ariana Grande, Stephen Colbert, and so many more. We ask questions you won't hear asked anywhere else. Listen to the Fresh Air podcast from NPR and WHYY.